We have a little over 8K a month from this experiment.
So I wanted to bring you here so we could come up with some business ideas that agents could launch for us entirely. And then I'm going to fly you back here in a month. We're going to touch base on if those ideas made any money, and if so, how much they made, how you did it, how they can copy you.
It worked, and we have like a little over 8K a month in MRR from this experiment. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
$8,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue from this experiment that an AI agent built for you.
Yeah.
I need to process this.
So I actually just have mine on my phone. I just text it back and forth. I named mine Zach Morris. So anyway, Zach just does whatever I tell him to at any given time. It's nice to do it via iMessage. It found 350 local businesses in Utah, made the 350 websites.
How much did it end up being per website in token costs?
A handful of cents.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That went much better than I expected.
Yeah, same. This is an effort of using OpenClaw in unique ways, but making real money while showing people what is truly possible. And honestly, I want to have like a handful of things like this. They're making real dollars.
Banger alert, banger alert. Listen, there's not a coincidence that some of my best episodes are my AI agent made a business for me and make me money. That's cool. Who wouldn't want that? So we re-engineered that today. This video was filmed over the course of a month. My friend Brandon is a baller at AI agents. We kind of brainstormed some ideas of what types of businesses an AI agent could start for us. And then he actually launched some of those businesses. And then he comes back a month later. We talk about how it goes, and you're going to be shocked. Okay, Brandon, thank you for flying to Texas.
Glad to be back.
Okay, so you've been thinking of some ideas?
I have some, yeah. And are we trying to use OpenClaw?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know OpenClaw is basically like an AI assistant that can do pretty much anything for you if you set it up right, and it can use any AI model that you connect it to. So it could use Claude or Chat or Gemini or Grok, but also like DeepSeek and Qwen and Kimi and other ones from China. So it can use anything, and you can also like give it access to a credit card or whatever and let it spend money to then do other things for you to integrate with whatever, to accomplish whatever tasks you need it to do. And so anyway, I like to push the limits with mine that I have, that my company, David AI, set me up with, because I don't know, OpenClaw is amazing and it can do so much stuff. So
before we get into some ideas, what have you been using OpenClaw for that people might find interesting?
Yeah, good question. So you can interface with it in different ways. So you can interface with it like on your computer, like in a browser. You can do it in chat, in iMessage, in Telegram, and whatever. So I actually just have mine just on my phone. I just text it back and forth. A lot of people like to name their OpenClaw. I named mine Zach Morris, Saved by the Bell.
Sure.
I admired him growing up.
Me too.
So that I couldn't think of a name, so I just named him Zach Morris. So anyway, Zach just does whatever I tell him to at any given time. It's nice to do it via iMessage, and with the little blue bubbles, just kind of makes it feel, I don't know, more personal. It can do anything that AI does, but like more and longer tasks that are more in depth. So whether it's research, but like, hey, go do research on all the new startups in the whatever home services space and give me the details of like, what is their marketing strategy? How much money did they raise if they raised money? What is their moat? What aspect of home services are they tackling? Give me all the links, all the details, put it on a Google Doc for me, and then tell me how I can change something that I'm doing, blah, 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 based off of that. Okay. So it could do that, but it could also be like more in depth in the sense of, okay, now go and sign up for a demo of each of those companies and tell me what the onboarding process looks like between your demo sign up and when you actually do the call.
Wow.
So it couldn't do the call for me, but it could tell me like, I want to know the drip campaigns that they get via
technically,
email.
It could do the call for you.
It could do the call, yeah.
If you connected it to a voice agent.
Yeah,
right?
I could just have a camera off thing and have it be on the call. And actually, I totally could. I should do that. That'd be weird and creepy, but I could totally do that.
Who cares?
I guess it wouldn't be weird, but it might be a little creepy.
Before you continue, I want to touch on the fact that you built it into iMessage. I think that's like on the surface, it's like, that's cool. That's a cool little gimmick, but I think that's critical because
Yeah.
it's frictionless.
Yeah.
And that's an app you're probably in more than any other app, which means you're going to use this more than you'd use it otherwise if it were
Right.
buried in a browser or
Yeah.
like a crappy user interface, which means the more you use it, the better you get at it
Yeah.
and the wealthier you get from it, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
I don't want you to undersell how critical it is to have it in like where you already live on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good call out. So we do this for other companies. We do like AI solutions for companies. And when we do like an OpenClaw setup, which there's other versions now, you can do Hermes and other things, but OpenClaw is still the best and most powerful in my opinion. Anyway, we try to set it up where they live the most. So sometimes we'll get a client that like their whole day is in Slack.
Yeah.
In which case we're like, okay, well, we'll just build yours into Slack.
Mm-hmm.
Some is in email, so we'll build it in email. I'm in my iMessage, my messages app on my iPhone all day. So I just figured friction wise, I want it there because yes, I don't want it to be in WhatsApp or Telegram. Like I don't use those that much. So yeah.
So when you send an iMessage to Zach Morris, is it getting on your Mac Mini that you have a display on, and it's like actually going and searching, and you can see the cursor move and everything?
So it does connect to a Mac Mini, which I have in my office in Provo, Utah, which is online at all times. It's actually not connected to a screen, my Mac Mini. It is just chilling there. Yeah, that's where it works though. And then it usually delivers me the information. So I connected it to my Google Docs and Gmail and Google Drive, and then iMessage. So it just delivers everything either in my text or like in a Google Doc or a Google Sheet or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, just because you're watching this doesn't mean you're subscribed to my channel. YouTube's going to show you stuff even if you're not subscribed to it. Over half of people that watch my videos are not subscribed. It would mean the world to me if you just hit subscribe. Thank you so much.
All right. So what are some ideas you've been thinking of?
Okay, so I saw a couple people talking about like bedtime story stuff for kids. So that's one that I was thinking would be fun, partially because I think it would be easy to do. So basically what I want to do is spin up a little website that's basically like custom bedtime stories for kids. So I've done this for a long time with my kids. I don't do it as much anymore because they're a little older, but telling them bedtime stories. But it can be cumbersome to do it every night and to do new ones. So what I actually started doing, which did work for quite a while, is I started going through all of the Marvel movies and just I would tell snippets of those of each movie, starting with Iron Man 1 and going all the way to Endgame. And I would just change the character names to be my kids' names and their friends and stuff. But that's where I would just get the ideas from because I knew the movies well. Anyway, so that lasted me like a couple years, just going through the chronologically through all that stuff. And then I would just do like other superhero movies. But I mean, that's hard. And not everyone knows a bunch of movies really well where they can just pull from. And you can only do like so many like Princess Knight stories or whatever, right? So anyway, custom bedtime stories for your kid delivered to your email inbox each night.
Okay. At a set time of day. So it's like bedtime.
Every night at 6 p.m., you'll just get the thing in your inbox. It'll have your kid's name. Like you can, I'll do it to where you can just upload the kid's name and maybe like preferences. Like, do they like princesses or cars or fighting or business, whatever they like.
So this is interesting because it's kind of like a one-to-one bespoke newsletter.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way. And so people can upload their kids' names, some themes or whatever, and then they will get specific stories according to their preferences in their inbox every day.
Yes.
Which is really unique. It's not an app. It's not a newsletter. It's like a one-to-one newsletter.
Yeah.
And I want to point out another brilliance here is I think a lot of people would, if they had this same idea, the form factor they would default to is an app. Like I got to build an app.
Yeah.
I got to build an app. But guess what? Like people don't want another app.
Yeah.
We don't want another app. We have like 50 apps on our phone and we
Yeah.
use like 5 of them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So the chances that we'll add a 6th is almost nothing.
Yeah.
So you're saying, let's just embed ourselves in an app where people already are. Mail.
Yeah.
Gmail, just like you're doing with OpenClaw, right?
Which in general, I think that's how people should think.
Yes.
Because taking more real estate off of their home screen is becoming more difficult than ever before. So yeah, you can't compete. So let's just go where they already are. Text or email.
And I think people default to app largely because they almost feel insecure about the form factor. Like, well, it's not special if it's an email. No
Yeah.
one's going to pay for an email. We
Yeah.
want an app.
Yeah.
And they want to feel proud of it. But it's
Yeah.
like, that's not good business sense.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
don't want
totally.
another app. We want a problem solved. In this case, the problem is creative stories for our kids.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love the idea.
I'll make it super cheap. I'll use OpenClaw for all of it. Then I'll make some ads with OpenClaw to drive traffic to it. And that was one idea. We'll see what happens.
So the idea is, so in vibe coding, you have like they call them one-shot prompt apps, right? Or websites. One prompt and it's built.
Yeah.
Sure, you got to go connect it to a domain name or whatever. Is this going to be a one-shot prompt business, or is it going to take some massaging back and forth?
I don't think it'll be that hard, honestly. I mean, OpenClaw is really good. OpenClaw is as good as you set it up and train it to be. So like mine is connected to all the models. So I just have to, I'll basically just do a really, really good voice prompt to iMessage.
Oh, that makes iMessage even more brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just say, hey, make me whatever. Bedtime story, custom bedtime story apps for kids. It'll be delivered to the parents. We'll charge whatever, $9 a month. Like $9 is pretty cheap. Use whatever information you need to be able to generate at least 365 unique stories per year, blah, blah, blah. And, spin up the website. I'll have to, manually probably buy the domain that we're going to put this thing on.
Theoretically, if it had your credit card or was logged into your GoDaddy or Namecheap
Yeah, then
account,
it could. Yeah. I'll have it create some ads and then,
so ads is how you're going to grow it.
yeah.
Because nowadays building is the easy part,
Yeah.
right? So you're saying OpenClaw can do the harder part, which in this case would be paid ads.
Yeah. Paid ads. I'll probably just do them on Facebook and Instagram. And, Meta does the targeting via the creative. So I'll just spin up a bunch of different creatives and go from there.
Okay.
See what the MRR can be.
Monthly recurring revenue. What is your goal for customer acquisition costs? If it's $9 a month, you have no idea how long they'll stay.
Right.
How much are you willing to spend?
Like $20. Like, I think, I don't know, that'd probably be fine. But I mean, part of this isn't my main business.
Sure.
So this is this is an effort of using OpenClaw in unique ways, but making real money while showing people what is truly possible. And honestly, I want to have like a few or a handful of things like this to, frankly, be able to just like show our clients, like, hey, we eat our own dog food. We're like, yeah, this is for fun, but look, we made this bedtime stories thing. We did X, Y, and Z. Look how much money they're making real dollars. I just think I want to have some examples to show like our AI clients. Like I want them to be able to think outside of the box better as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we should run with that.
Okay.
In a month, we're going to revisit and see if it was built, if you have any revenue, and how you did it. Okay.
Okay. I'll get it done.
What else you got?
Yeah. So on OpenClaw, more ideas. Another one I had was, so there are endless businesses that exist, obviously. There are endless like local home service type businesses. Lots of them still either have horrible websites or no website, which is kind of crazy to have no website. So I think that I can use OpenClaw to find enough businesses who don't even have a website.
Okay. I mean, that's easy enough so far.
Yeah, I think I can do that. I think I would also be able to spin up websites for them.
Sure.
With OpenClaw. And then I guess I would just figure out how do I then hit them up to, like tell them like, hey, I made you a website, do you want to buy it or I'll give it to you for free if you hire us for marketing or something like that. So I can think of how I would end up reaching out to them. But I think there's a lot of potential in this in and of itself.
Okay. So let me make sure I understand this. Zach Morris, go find local businesses, right? That's a key part of this.
Yeah.
Local businesses that maybe are listed on Google or Google Business Profile.
Yeah.
Google Maps, right?
Because we got to find them somewhere. So yeah.
And it's very easy for anything or anyone to see, there's no website to click.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So only return local businesses that don't have a website. Do you want to focus on a geography?
I'll just do Utah since that's where I am.
I mean, usually it's easier to sell anything to a local area because
Yeah.
your people are familiar
Yeah.
with you. So, all right. And then you're just going to prompt it, okay, once you have this business that doesn't have a website, use Replit or Lovable or whatever
Yeah.
to build a simple website for them based
Yeah.
on publicly available data.
Yeah.
And then you're going to use some methodology to sell that website as a service to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And to actually make it work, I probably have to do a lot. So I'll probably do a few hundred, which then also means I will need to use OpenClaw in a way where the token cost doesn't get out of hand. Because with OpenClaw, you basically still use like your own plans with Claude and Chat and Gemini and the Chinese models and all that kind of stuff. So I'll try to keep token costs minimal, because if I'm going to spin up 300 websites or whatever, that could get out of hand cost wise. So I'll figure that out too.
What do you think that would cost per website in tokens?
It depends if you actually deploy them even just on a Replit URL. So on like a $20 a month plan, it partially depends how much traffic they get. You could probably have like 7 to 10 websites live on Replit.
Okay.
So, but that's $20 a month. But if I'm going to do it for hundreds, it would start to add up.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many are actually going to want them. So anyway, I'll figure a way around that via potentially tapping into the Chinese models, or doing a website once and cloning it, and I'll figure it out. But I think it'll be doable.
Okay. I'd be curious if you could split test this and do one set of outreach to businesses that don't have a website, and then another set of outreach to businesses that do have a website.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed oftentimes businesses that do have a website are more willing to pay for a better website than businesses that don't have a website are willing to pay for any website.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because the first camp recognizes the value of having a website already.
Yeah.
They might be getting leads from it, and you might be able to convince them that they could get more leads from a better designed or better optimized website.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So that could be interesting. All right. How do you think you'll get their attention?
Yeah. So depending on how many I do, I mean, I'll get, for sure, I know OpenClaw will be able to pull the contact info for all these. So I'll be able to get, like their names, phone numbers, emails, obviously business names too, which I'll need for the website builds. So I could call them and then tell them, I can email them. I can do postcards to try to hit them up in more of like a, old school way and try to stand out that way. And it could be a combo of all three, which, maybe a combo is the best way, but yeah, cause I'll have all their contact info. So I'll be able to get to all of them. It's just a matter of how.
Okay. What do you think you might be able to price this at?
Yeah, I mean, if I can keep token costs low enough, which is my goal, then what I would like to do would be you get the website for free if you hire us for marketing.
Okay. And what would that cost them?
We have more like AI-powered marketing services that we offer that start at like a few $100 a month.
Okay.
So pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a big ask.
But that could really add up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 33 million small businesses in America.
Yeah. So we have packages that range from like $300 to $700 a month on the marketing side. So I would be fine with saying, hey, you get this website for free as long you just have to sign up for the cheapest package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So kid stories,
Uh-huh.
and then outreach to business owners with no website.
Uh-huh.
Anything else that you might want to try?
I saw that Anthropic actually just basically had employees of Anthropic use Claude to like buy and sell stuff for them on Craigslist in like whatever their HQ is, like San Francisco or something. So I was thinking that it would be cool if I could try to use OpenClaw to do that for me on Facebook Marketplace in Utah and see like, can it just like whatever, buy a pair of shoes off of Facebook Marketplace and flip it for like a $3 profit, or couches or whatever, something that's maybe a little more cheap, and like how successful could it actually be? Just trying to find the arbitrage of, oh, this looks good quality, signal the buy it, and then relist.
Or you could even have it like compare and contrast the same items on eBay and Facebook Marketplace at the same time.
Yeah.
So like, let's say like a specific version of a Jordan shoe from a specific year.
Yeah.
All right. And it just scans eBay and Facebook. eBay.
Yeah.
Oh, this one comes like, let's say fair market value is $136.
Yeah.
And it sees one pop up in Pleasant Grove, Utah for $78.
Yeah.
And it knows they're consistently going for $128 on eBay.
Yeah.
Less fees, netting out at $103, right?
Yeah.
So it's like boom, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Reaches out within a minute, Venmos them a deposit
Yeah.
so they hold it,
Yeah.
and then messages you urgent, hey, Brandon,
Yeah,
go pick
yeah.
up this shoe. I need
Yeah.
someone in the real world to do this. But while it's asking you to do that, it's listing it on eBay, like listing it live.
Yeah.
And it might even be sold by the time you go pick up the shoe.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah. 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 No, that'd be awesome. Well, yeah, I'll just try that too.
Okay. So 3 ideas.
Yeah.
Touch base in a month.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, I've purposely refrained from asking you questions over this last month because I want to be surprised. Before I ask you any questions, how excited are you about your results on a scale of 1 to 10?
10. Yeah. I'm pumped.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Things have been going good.
Do you have actual revenue?
Yes.
What about profits? The P word.
Profit. Yeah. I've got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something just happened with Beehive that I think you might have missed. You can now connect your Beehive account directly to Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, or whatever AI tool that you use through something called MCP. So last week, I connected my newsletter to Claude, and now I can sit in Claude and say, look at my open rates from the last 30 days and tell me which subject lines perform best, or draft next week's newsletter based on the topics my audience clicked on the most this month. And Claude does it. It can see my real Beehive data, subscribers, engagement numbers, automations, revenue, everything. And I've already cut my weekly production time because I stopped guessing what to write about and started letting the data decide for me. So instead of using AI to just write generic content, use AI to plug into your actual newsletter to make decisions based on what's already working. Beehive built this MCP so your favorite AI tool can be your newsletter strategist and your data scientist all in one. So move your email list over today and try Beehive 30% off for 30 days with code Chris30, because this might be the simplest, highest leverage business you can build right now. So 3 ideas. I'm going to recap everyone.
Yeah.
We had help business owners build a website with OpenClaw, help parents tell more customized, unique stories every single night through an email sent at a certain time with OpenClaw. And then we had a find arbitrage opportunities between Facebook Marketplace and eBay, or just all buying and selling on Facebook Marketplace with OpenClaw, correct?
Yep.
Okay, let's start with the duds.
Okay, yeah.
If any, which of
Bad
these were
news
duds?
first. Bad news, that last one, the buy and selling one, I wanted to do. I kind of started doing it. I canned it. But I think it has potential for sure. I just didn't focus on it because the other 2 were working.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. I mean, it's opportunity cost. You only
Yeah.
have so much time in a day.
Yeah.
Did
And
you
I'm not
see-
necessarily passionate about buying and selling things on eBay, whereas, I've got 4 kids, so bedtime stories is cool. And then the other one was making, meaningful improvements to my actual business.
Oh,
So,
okay. So did you see any signs of life on the Facebook stuff?
honestly, I didn't give it enough of a go to
Okay.
even yeah.
That's fine, because you ignored it for good reason.
Yeah.
So let's start with bedtime stories. Tell me how that entire thing went.
We do a 7-day free trial thing. You can even get like a free story. And basically you sign up, you create your account, you customize your child's profile. So their name, favorite animal, favorite color, do they like princesses or cars or whatever, it doesn't matter. And then as we say, you get a magical story in your inbox at 7 p.m. every night. And we charge $9 a month if you have 1 kid, a little more for other stuff.
Okay.
But
And you're going to show us the prompts to build all this?
yeah, I'll show you the prompts. I don't know where you want them. We can put them on the screen or put them in the description.
Yeah, we'll add them to the end.
Okay.
That's really good design.
Yeah, this is OpenClaw.
Did you give it like something to work off of with design?
Honestly, no.
It just ran with that.
Yeah, just ran with that. And I was
Alright.
like, oh, it looks good. And yeah, so I like the design. We don't even push the family or legacy yet. We just have the starter, which is the $9 a month.
Okay.
Which price point wise, we just chose that because, I don't know, $9. We didn't want to charge like only $5. So we just chose 9. And then we started doing some ads. So I ended up making 1 ad, but I just made an ad basically saying how, like, I'm a dad of 4 kids. It's hard to endlessly think of new bedtime stories. And that's why we made dreamtales.io to make it easy.
Yeah.
So
Did you make the ad or did OpenClaw?
I made 1 ad.
Okay.
And then we had OpenClaw make some like AI, obviously powered ads.
Okay.
So we had a few of those too running.
What type of an ad did you make? Was it still image, video, what?
Mine was just a video, just like me talking to the camera.
Like
Just
15,
like as an
15
ad.
seconds?
That's what,
Short?
Yeah, it was probably like 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
You let Facebook choose the targeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then, the AI ads is more just like, pictures of moms or kids or whatever. And then the story. And then
No, like, hey, Jen, AI avatars. That's more still image
Yep.
and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. We have like a little over $300 in MRR right now.
Holy
So,
crap. Monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah.
So like the 33, 34
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah.
Holy
And
crap.
we probably spent like $400 in ads.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
If that were a $9 a month software product,
Yeah.
you'd be willing to spend well over $1,000
Yeah.
on ads
Yeah.
based on what your lifetime value would be.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do for fun is we're going to refine the story, like make the engine behind the story creation a little better. We're going to try to come up with, right now we have it as $24 gets you up to 3 kid profiles. I think we'll just change it to 19.
Mm-hmm.
So 9 for 1, 19 for like probably up to 4 kids. Or honestly, it's not that much more work.
Well,
up to 6 kids.
They need kids that are young too.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the chance of people even having more than 2 kids that are under 10 is pretty small.
Yeah. And then kind of decide if we want to do the physical book option. Maybe just have the wait list for that and not decide on that. But yeah, then dial in some ads more, or just better, spin up some more creative, and then see, yeah, can we take this thing? Because essentially we're basically break even off of it so far, but it's MRR, so it's going to continue. And yeah, we're going to lose some and hopefully gain more. But I want to see, like, if we spend another $1,000 on ads, can we get another 1,000 in MRR? Well,
Yeah.
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It pays back in the first month.
yeah.
Which ad performed best? Yours or
It was actually mine.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because, like, okay, they saw a human, they saw a dad, 4
Right.
kids, they connected.
But you
with-
could use HeyGen or whatever to do that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as good, but
Yeah.
they're pretty dang close.
Yeah, yeah,
It's essentially a SaaS product. Like
Yeah.
it is a software as a service
Yeah.
product, but it's the delivery vehicle is just an email a day.
yeah.
If you were to scale this at any point, would you want to kind of take it over and hand it to a human? Would you want to prompt it better? What does scale look like for this?
Yeah, no, I think probably the best version of this would be it's founder led by a mom who happens to be a creative writer.
Mm-hmm.
And she is potentially using AI behind the scenes, but she's also like constructing the stories, or at least like the rubric for a lot of the stories herself. So people are connecting more with like, oh yeah, like she's an author, it's a mom. I just think, I mean, most of our buyers are going to be moms. So I think that would be how we scale it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's exciting. That's a
Yeah,
huge
it's fun.
one. You literally used an AI agent to build a business for you, soup to nuts, from idea to revenue.
Yeah. So that's going good. And maybe next time I see you, I'll have more to talk about with how we've scaled this, and then I can talk about the website thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's what we ended up doing. So we used Zach Morris, my OpenClaw. It found 350 local businesses in Utah, some of which who had websites but were bad, some of which who didn't have websites.
So a little bit of both.
And
Did you ask it to do that? Or
yeah,
did
I
it-
asked it.
Okay.
Yeah, just asked it to do that.
You were just kind of curious, kind of
Yeah.
like the split test we
Yeah.
talked about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it found the 350. It found the contact info for all of them. So like name, company name, personal name, email, phone number.
Now let me get specific. Did it just pull the phone number from the Google profile?
Yeah, it just did that.
Okay. It didn't
Yeah.
go to like Manta or like
No,
state
no.
directory websites.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically it scraped Google Business across Utah for various different services. It ended up being more like landscaping, and HVAC is kind of
Well,
what
that's just like, it probably just took like a random sample size.
Yeah.
And most home service businesses are HVAC, landscaping, plumbing,
Yeah.
electrical, roofing,
Yeah.
whatever.
And so it did that. Like that was step 1, right? It did it successfully. Step 2 was, can you make websites for all these? I asked it that.
Mhm.
It said yes. It asked me what platform did I want to use. I said, I don't care, just keep my token costs low.
Okay.
It said, okay, where do you want to host these? I said, I don't want to actually host them live yet. Just put them on test URLs.
So they are public, but not on
Yeah.
like a custom domain name.
Yeah. So it made the 350 websites.
And it made them like with like the Claude API, or did it go to Replit? And make
yeah,
them theirs?
no. So it ended up using more like Chinese models
Okay.
because I said keep token costs low.
How much did it end up being per website in token costs?
Oh, like a handful of cents.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap. So you're
And
doing
then
a few
here's
hundred.
some of them. Here's some of the sites that it made. So landscape, electrical site, what was a plumbing one, a roofing one. So yeah, just home services across
They're
the
all
board.
most trusted.
Yeah, that's true. They're all
Just
very,
like
very trusted.
All of my daughter's friends are her best friends.
Yeah. Okay, so it spun up all the sites, and you can scroll and get some more info, which it really just had to pull from. For a lot of
That
these,
looks
it didn't
great.
have it. Yeah, pulled from Google. But I mean, it's solid, right?
It is solid.
Yeah. You mentioned postcards, I think. Anyway, we did the postcards thing. So I said, can you basically send all these postcards with a QR code where the owner would then scan the card and then see their site. I want the QR code to point to the site. And then on the QR code, I want it to have the information of my David AI company where they could then, call us to like buy the site, basically. I asked it if it could do that. I didn't know. And it said, yeah, you can do it with Lob. This episode is not sponsored by Lob. I've never heard of Lob before. It's Lob.
Is it like a direct mail API?
Yeah. It's lob.com.
Okay.
So anyway.
3-letter domain. They must be legit.
Yeah, true.
I do know direct mail is like a well-established industry, and there's a lot of technology involved. And there are APIs that you can use for this stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the postcard it made. This is the general design for all the postcards. It says, we built you a free website. Scan the QR code to see your new site. Your business info, reviews, and a click to call button, all live and ready to go. So that's the front of the postcard. And on the back of the postcard, it says, your free website is live. We built it for you. And then our contact info. Okay. So you scan it. You then go, it would then take them, to their site.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lob gave us analytics, which showed of the 350, 341 of the postcards were successfully delivered.
Okay.
So it gave us like analytics of that. So I want to say it was like 20% of them scanned.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 20% scanned. So I have one like part-time sales guy on my team. So I gave him the contact info of the 350.
Okay.
And
Some
I said,
retargeting.
yeah. So I said, start calling on them. But as soon as we hear that they scanned, for sure, call on those like super hard.
Yeah.
And then tell them that their site is free if they hire us for marketing, and then just pitch our cheapest package.
Yeah.
Because we do, it's like a few $100. Anyway, it worked. And we have like a little over 8K a month in MRR from this experiment. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
$8,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue from this experiment that an AI agent built for you.
Yeah. That essentially they did every single thing except for they didn't close the final deal, which was my part-time sales guy or me.
I need to process this.
Guys, tkowners.com. That's my community where people are building businesses. I do AMAs, Q&As every week live. You can ask me anything you want. You can have accountability partners. It's about 1,000 people in there building, starting, growing businesses. Check out TKO, as in the Koerner office, tkowners.com.
So 68 people scanned, 340 delivered successfully, 9 got lost in the mail, 68 people scanned. I want to know from your sales guy, how many of your closes came from the scans versus the non-scanners?
Yeah, it was like 90% scanners, 10% non-scanners. It was mostly from people who did end up scanning.
So are they all paying $300 a month, or are some paying different
No,
packages?
some are, maybe the biggest one's like $1,200 a month.
Okay, how many unique customers does that $8,000 represent?
Yeah, probably like 20.
Okay, so $400 a month on average.
Yeah.
A couple do the expensive one.
Yeah.
Most everyone else does the cheaper one.
Yep.
20. So
Probably more like 17, but yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 or 3 of them closed because of the call. They may not have even seen the postcard. Just because it was delivered doesn't mean they saw it.
Yeah.
They might have closed without a postcard. You probably don't even know that.
Yeah, we wouldn't. Yeah.
But of the 68 people that scanned it, they showed enough intent to say yes to the call.
Yeah. So basically, if we were to do the math here, of the 68, like 14-ish of those closed. 14
wow, okay.
of the 68
20%.
scanners. Yeah.
20% scan, 20% of the 20% buy
Yes.
because of the cold call, the warm call.
Yes. But I do think, and this I don't think should be neglected, is I think that the uniqueness of them actually seeing the QR code postcard to their website, I think that already signaled enough like, oh, these guys are like legit.
Yeah.
They're thinking outside the box. I like that, because most business owners get like endless emails a day
right.
of like, oh, I can get you number one on Google, or I can, run your Google ads or whatever, right? That's why I was like, well, let's just stand out. Like, yeah, could we use Outscraper and other things and like, just put them on cold email outreach? Yeah, we could do that. But now we're just yet
low
another email.
stakes, low friction.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a little soapbox here. I got to look directly at the camera. So like, I think one of the magic things here is you merging the online with the offline. Okay. The more AI grows, the more we need that pendulum to swing towards offline stuff.
Yeah.
Because the easy thing to do is to mass text people, which is not compliant. You will get sued.
Yeah.
You will get fined, right? By the FCC. Or to do an AI voice agent, or to do cold emails or whatever. You did the harder, more expensive thing. And we'll get into what it costs in a minute, but that makes all the difference, because it signals to your potential customer that you guys are real. All the people in their inbox are not real. They're not. There's low stakes, there's low money, there's low investment. Mr. Beast's first viral video ever, the concept for it was, I'm going to give $5,000 to a homeless guy, right? And see what he does with it. He was going to get that $5,000 from their sponsor. But Mr. Beast said, make it 10,000 and the video won't do twice as many views. It'll do 100 times as many views, because that additional investment conveys to the audience. They see the work, they see the money, and it just gets them to click, watch, share, and get to the end. They're much more likely to do so, right? And so he twisted their arm. They gave him 10,000 and it got like over 100 million views, which was his first real big viral hit. So that same first principle of human nature is conveyed here. Like that postcard cost how much each?
It was like a little more than $1 each.
Okay, so you spent some hours of time. This wasn't like a 5-minute thing.
Yeah. Not counting the calls, pretty little.
Okay, yeah. You spent some time.
Yeah.
And you spent hundreds of dollars.
Yes.
Right? Including the token cost. It was you're still in the
token
hundreds.
cost ended up being like $10-20. It was pretty low.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then $400-ish on the actual postcards.
Yep. Which is about, $380 more than cold emails would cost.
Yeah.
So your potential customers saw that and you stood out that way.
Yeah.
So I just like anything in life, you got to have, there has to be stakes involved. There has to be risk involved. There is a risk to not taking a risk, right? Like if I'm afraid I'll get hit by a car, so I stayed in bed all day, then I'm going to risk like getting fat because I'm not moving around.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of avoiding or even minimizing risk. It's a matter of picking your risk.
Yeah.
Because there are no solutions, only trade-offs.
Yeah.
So your risk in this case was $400, but had you done the same pitch with the same copy to the same 350 people over email, you maybe close one, maybe.
Yeah.
But instead you close 17 to 20 of them.
Yeah. Well, and off of that, like what the easy version of this is, I do scrapers, I set up cold email campaigns, and I see how many people reply, and I try to close them over email. Like that's the easy thing that people want to do, because they don't want to pick up the phone and actually call.
Yeah.
Because that's hard.
Short-term easy equals long-term hard.
Yeah.
They're picking the easy route, but they're making their life harder as a result.
So it's like, okay, how can we stand out? We doubly stood out. The postcard thing and the actually calling. Like we want to talk to you.
Well, and actually making a website.
Yeah. We made the site too. Yeah. So it's like we're trying to cut through the noise in a variety of ways, which probably helped our close rates be better than normal. That shows them, well, these guys, they made me the site. I got the postcard. They called me on the phone multiple times until they got a hold of me. Like, I want someone like, this is me assuming what they're thinking in their head. I want someone like that in my corner.
Yeah.
Who do I not want in my corner? The guy that's just emailing me endlessly or messaging me on LinkedIn endlessly saying he can get me more leads.
Yeah.
Which obviously looks like an AI bot that is sending me those messages.
Probably is. Yeah. So like if you compound your difficult things, compound your frictionful things, then you compound your wins.
Yeah.
3 hard things.
Yeah.
Cold call them, awkward, intimidating. Everyone hates it.
Yeah.
Physical postcards cost real money, takes time.
Yeah.
And then actually building the website for 350 business owners.
Yeah.
If you only do 2 of those things, you might get 4 closes.
Yeah.
If you only do 1 of them, you might get 1 close.
Yeah.
If you do 3, it multiplies. It's exponential. You do 3, you do 17. If you find a 4th hard thing to do, you might get 72. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you show up at their door the day it arrives, which would be weird and awkward, but like possible.
Yeah. I guess the 4th could be you hand deliver the postcard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could get you 70 closes.
Yeah.
Which still...
then you can actually just chat with him right there and force the chat. Yeah.
Now, do you have the data on How many of your closes came from people that had a website versus didn't?
Unfortunately, no. I messed up there. I should have figured out a way to track that better. But once the QR codes were sent out, we basically lost that part of the funnel.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna start doing this basically once a month. Now that we saw that it worked, we want to do a version of this experiment once a month and refine it. And so yeah, I think next month what we're gonna do is only people who do have websites, but who maybe don't rank well in Google will be the thing that we try to do.
Like an SEO agency.
Yeah. And still, but ideally still they have bad sites.
Yeah.
So I'll spin up a new site, but then point to say like, hey, we'll give you this new one, which will be better for SEO. All you got to do is call us back or whatever. And then we'll try to do the same thing.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Yeah. And then we'll cold call them. And cold calling is not fun. If anybody's ever done it, my first job when I was in college was cold calling. I absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you put in the work, you can make,
Yeah.
obviously you can make money from it.
I don't understand why you're sitting here. Like if I were you, I would be mailing 33 million American business owners.
We do care about quality of work that we put out
Right.
for our clients. So we need to make sure that we can scale appropriately.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That went much better than I expected.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, same. I thought it was going to work at least a little. I didn't think it was going to work this well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people find you or your businesses?
Yeah. Find me on X, Brandon Doyle. And then my website is getdavid.ai. And we do all different kinds of stuff with AI. So would love to chat.
For business owners?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon.
Okay. Thanks.
Listen, I need more people like this to interview on my podcast. So if you know of someone with a side hustle or a business that's unique and cool and super profitable, email Molly, MOLLY, at cofounders.com. That's one word, cofounders.com. Molly at cofounders.com. Tell her your story and we'll give you $100 if we end up interviewing them. If you like this content, please share with a friend, hit a like or a comment below, and we'll see you next time on the Koerner Office.